All right, hey everyone, and welcome back. We always love to take a look at what's happening in the crypto world each week. And you sent in this Vantage Plus analysis from February 17th titled "Crypto Outlook Dollar Weakness to Support Crypto?" Question mark.
Interesting.
So that's what we're diving deep into today. Now, just to set the stage, this analysis covers a lot. It touches on U.S. policies, gold performance, the rise of Chinese tech companies,
Huh.
and even gives a technical outlook on a few major players like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and Solana. Let's jump right in. Okay, so first things first, this analysis makes a pretty interesting point
Okay.
about the U.S. dollar weakening, but crypto not really benefiting as much as you might expect.
Right. Yeah.
Right, it says that investors are kind of flocking to gold instead as a safe haven. What do you make of that?
Well, it's like this when there's all this uncertainty in the market, like we're seeing right now with like all these policy changes and global economic stuff. Investors tend to get a little risk averse, right? So they look for assets that are seen as safe and stable. And that's where gold comes in. It's kind of the classic safe haven asset.
Right, it's like that old saying, safe as gold.
Exactly. It's been seen as a store of value for centuries. It tends to hold its value even when other assets are taking a hit.
Makes sense. So it's not so much that a weaker dollar is directly pushing crypto down. It's more that investors are just feeling a bit skittish overall
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
and looking for safer bets. Gotcha. Now, another thing that caught my eye was this whole discussion about Chinese tech companies and their potential impact on blockchain projects.
Yeah.
This analysis even talks about a push for decentralization in China, which seems kind of counterintuitive given their history. So what do you think? Is there really potential for crypto to take off there?
Well, it's definitely a situation to watch closely, but we have to remember China's government has a track record of stepping in and,
Oh, yeah.
controlling things. Like, remember what happened with Jack Ma and Ant Group? That whole thing kind of showed how quickly things can change.
Right, like that was a huge wake-up call for a lot of people.
Yeah, it definitely highlighted the risks involved. So while there's potential for growth in China, there's also that big question mark hanging over it. Like, will the government allow it to flourish or will they crack down if they feel like things are getting out of control? It's tough to say.
Totally. Okay, so we've talked about these like big picture global trends, but let's get into the nitty-gritty of some specific coins. Bitcoin being the OG cryptocurrency. It's currently sitting around what, like $97,480?
Pretty close, yeah.
Still struggling to break through that $100,000 ceiling. So what does the technical analysis have to say about Bitcoin outlook?
Well, according to Vantage Plus's monthly chart, it seems like Bitcoin's kind of at a crossroads right now.
Hmm.
It could really go either way. We could see it surge past its all-time high, or, we could see a pretty significant dip. The key levels to watch here are obviously the all-time high and the $72,000 support zone. That's a crucial one. If it dips below that, it could signal a deeper correction.
So Bitcoin's keeping us on the edge of our seats. All right, what about Ethereum? I know it's seen a bit of a recovery lately, trading at around $2,705, but Vantage Plus is still urging caution. Why is that?
Well, even though Ethereum has been moving upwards, it's still trading within a rising trend line on the weekly chart, so we really need to see it break above that trend line with some conviction before we can get too bullish. And another key level to keep an eye on is the 50 moving average.
Okay.
If it can push past that resistance zone, we could potentially see it climb towards $3,900.
Wow, that would be a big jump. Now let's move on to Ripple. Always a bit of a wild card.
Yeah, you never know with Ripple.
Currently, it's at $2.7720, and the analysis mentions something called a pin bar candlestick pattern. I got to be honest, I'm not too familiar with that one.
Oh, sure. So a pin bar is basically a candlestick with a long wick sticking out from either the top or bottom of the body.
Oh.
And what it often suggests is a potential reversal in price direction. So in Ripple's case, this pin bar that formed a few weeks back is hinting that, even though it's been pretty volatile lately, there's still a chance it could break above its previous all-time high.
Interesting.
However, we also have to consider the possibility of a retracement after those massive gains it made back in December.
Okay, so Ripple's got us guessing. All right, last but not least, let's talk about Solana. Right now, it's kind of lagging behind the others, trading at 193.40. What's the story there?
Well, Vantage Plus is pointing to the 50 moving average as a really crucial support level for Solana right now. And if it can break above $200, that would be a really bullish signal. Like, if that happens, we could see it aiming for $270 or even higher. But for now, it's kind of in the consolidation phase and really needs to gather some momentum before we see any significant moves.
Okay, so it sounds like the overall message from Vantage Plus is that there's a lot of uncertainty in the crypto market right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've got the dollar fluctuating, you've got gold doing its thing, you've got global economic worries, and then you throw in the whole China tech situation. It's a lot to process.
Totally. So for anyone who's into crypto, what's the key takeaway here? What should they be focusing on?
Honestly, the most important thing is to do your own research. Don't just blindly follow the hype. Look at the data, understand the risks,
Uh,
and form your own conclusions. It's really the only way to navigate this market effectively.
that's great advice. All right, so before we wrap things up, here's a question for all of you listening. Of all the factors we discussed today, which one do you think will have the biggest impact on the crypto market in the coming weeks? The dollar's weakness, gold's performance, China's tech scene. It's a tough one to call, but that's what makes this space so exciting. Keep exploring, folks, and thanks for diving deep with us today. Catch you next time. The Six.